Joining us now, Wadi Gaitan, national spokesman for the LIBRE initiative. Thank you very much for talking to us. Opposition leader Juan Guaido, he is considering asking the U.S. for military intervention. This is a very touchy topic, one that the United States has stayed out of up until now. What would happen should American military get involved?
Well, it's not really the best path forward when you're thinking of long-term democracy for Venezuela. Many people talk about that the current government, led by Nicolas Maduro, would use any kind of U.S. military intervention or role as a tool to call out Juan Guaido and the people of Venezuela. So it would be counterproductive. What the United States needs to continue to do is to continue backing them internationally. They need to continue to stand with the more than 50 countries who have recognized President Guaido and have recognized that the people of Venezuela deserve democracy. If we continue to do that, Venezuela will continue to progress. They will eventually be able to have Nicolas Maduro leave the area. But military intervention is not the answer.
Okay, so then let's talk about the pressure that needs to come on. You talk about the 50 different countries that are right now trying to put pressure on Venezuela. Venezuela doesn't care, it seems, what the rest of the world thinks. So if the pressure doesn't work, then what does without, in using that restraint for military enrollment?
Yeah, so there's two key points. One is understanding that countries like Russia, Iran, and Cuba have a very strong presence in Venezuela. They are there helping Maduro's regime, not just with counterintelligence, but they're helping with military. Cuba has an entire military presence that is actually helping Maduro. Maduro has said that he doesn't trust a lot of the national Venezuelan army and military to protect them. So we as a country, and the president needs to continue, and Secretary Pompeo needs to continue to call out Russia, Cuba, and Iran to leave Venezuela and allow the people of Venezuela to be the voice for democracy. Another thing that's very important is that the people of Venezuela many times do not know that they actually have the support of the United States and that have the support of more than these 50 countries, because the state-run media does not air the comments of the president, does not air the comments of Senator Pompeo. So it's important that we continue to have this conversation so the word does make it down to the people of Venezuela.
Here's a Wall Street Journal op-ed's call on this by Maria Anastia O'Grady. The opposition would have more leverage if it could end the occupation of the country by Cuba, Russia, and Iran. When that happens, Mr. Maduro loses his godfathers, but thus far the U.S. and its regional allies have given this axis of evil little incentive to withdraw. Now, Secretary Pompeo has said that the U.S. should focus that every country must get out. Where should the focus be?
I think really zeroing down on the three countries that I mentioned, Russia, Iran, and Cuba, but specifically Cuba. Cuba has been in Venezuela since the days of Chavez, but a lot of what they do is not just military. I think that's probably the most obvious and the most visible. But they also have a lot of people embedded within the Venezuelan community. Whenever they are going to put together a protest or demonstration, there are reports that the regime actually gets word because there are people embedded in the community infiltrating plans, infiltrating and giving direction of where protests are going to happen. So Cuba really needs to step out. The United States needs to continue to call out countries like Russia who are prompting Cuba and the Venezuelan regime.
Wadi Gaitan, thank you very much. We appreciate